So, in a couple of weeks, my boyfriend and I plan to go to France for a couple of days on a romantic getaway. His own words, not mine, to spend quality time together because we've both been busy with work. I was excited about the trip and spending quality time with my boyfriend, but then he dropped this bombshell on me. He invited one of his friends because he always wanted to see France, so my boyfriend thought he would be kind and asked his friend to come along. So this was a big shock to me, and I told my boyfriend about my concerns. He told me that his friend had already paid for his flight ticket, and he said that he was planning on either changing our hotel room to a room with 2 beds or that his friend would sleep on the sofa. He did all of this without telling me a thing. I told my boyfriend that, quite frankly, I didn't want his friend to come, and it was supposed to be a romantic getaway. But he said that his friend wouldn't bother us and he'll do his own thing. But I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with it. So we argued for a bit more, with him saying that he paid for most of the trip, so he feels entitled to bring his friend along. In the end, I just got so fed up. And I may be a bit dramatic, but I felt betrayed. So I told him I wouldn't be coming if his friend was. He said I was being ridiculous, and I should go since it had been paid for anyway. And I was being overly dramatic. But this is how I feel. He said I was being manipulative and cruel for making him choose between his friend and me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Seriously, what is he thinking? How is it a romantic getaway if there's someone else snoring in the next sofa? Like, why? Is your boyfriend that clueless? I really hope he isn't expecting you to be comfortable sharing a bed with him with someone else 5 feet away. He unilaterally changed the trip. You're entitled to decide you no longer wish to go. It's already bad enough with the friend coming along, but to share a bedroom? What the heck? I would also decide not to go on that trip. He can enjoy a romantic getaway with his friend. It sounds like that's what he wants anyways. He doesn't respect you. Keep that in mind going forward. I'm also always curious about these third-wheel people in these kinds of stories. Like, wouldn't that friend also be uncomfortable crashing a couple's romantic trip to France? Let alone sharing a room with the couple. You'd think so, but I guess some people have no shame or are denser than the last loaf of bread I tried to make. OP, the petty part of me would go and pay an unusual amount of attention to the friend and only give yes or no answers to the boyfriend. Only do that if you want to burn down the relationship. Yeah, wow. I am so sorry, OP. This is not okay. This vacation sounds like he's designing it to see more than one Eiffel Tower. I think you aren't in the kind of relationship you think you are. To think you would be okay sleeping with your boyfriend in a room with one of his bros is wrong, especially without telling you. Especially throwing money in your face and sleeping in the same room with the guy you aren't involved with. I don't think you're being ridiculous. If he wants to go on a romantic vacation with his bro, so be it. I, 23 female, have been friends with Kai, 26 male, since we started working together a year ago. He has a girlfriend, 27, and they've been together since they were teenagers. We both work as hairdressers, so we've gotten really close. His girlfriend spends most of the year at sea working. She works for 6 months straight and then comes back for a few months. I've always been worried since he mentioned her job. She can't be there for him if he needs support. I was interested in her work life since her career is unique, so I asked Kai what she does. She works as a deckhand, but all of her coworkers are mainly men. I thought this was weird and told him that. He just laughed it off, saying how those men were family to her. It just seems so weird to me to live with other men while her own boyfriend was stuck at home without her. I've expressed concerns to him, but he always just brushes it off, saying how they've even had dinners with those men and their families. I tried to tell him how she prefers working to being with him. He just won't listen to me, saying things like, that's what they agreed on since day one. She recently came home, and I went over to visit them. Kai had gone to the bathroom, and I brought it up, telling her that her career was above her own boyfriend. She laughed at me, saying how she'll always prioritize her career and that he knows it. I tried to tell her that she should be there for him more often instead of leaving with other men for 6 months, and how Kai wouldn't put up with her career forever. She just had this look on her face and told me that he wouldn't be leaving anytime soon since she bought their house in cash after only 4 years of working. Kai then came back and she told him everything I said. He told me to leave. I tried to explain myself, but he shut the door on me. I've tried contacting him since then, but he hasn't even shown up for work, so I was worried. Finally, he just texted me back, saying he left work and how his girlfriend is now converting their spare room into his own salon. I tried to explain myself, but I was blocked. I just want my friend back. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Stay out of their relationship. You don't get to invent concerns your friend hasn't expressed having and confront his girlfriend with them. And you surely don't get to imply that she's fooling around with her coworkers just because they're mostly men. I'm glad he's getting out of a toxic relationship, by which I mean his friendship with you. It's her job. Your friend was being supportive of his girlfriend, and you're constantly trying to sow seeds of distrust in his mind. She's spending time with other men and not her boyfriend? What era do you live in? That's her job. She's not choosing to spend time with other men. You want her to quit her job? It seems so weird to me. Who the heck are you to feel weird and comment on their relationship? I think you're into this guy, and you're trying to get in between them. You deserve to be kicked out. Yep, this is how you lose your friends. So what about people in the military or other remote jobs? Are they not allowed to have relationships? They bought a house with cash after 4 years. That's called doing it smart as a foundation, so they can spend lots of time together in financial security in a couple of years. But you're too busy being judgy and coming across like you have a romantic interest in Kai. I'm sorry, but after this tirade, neither can trust having you around with you trying to split them up. Also, the salon industry tends to be pretty female-dominated, so isn't the coworker in the same position as his girlfriend? He most likely works around women all day long, but OP doesn't seem to think that's a problem. OP, stop discussing your jealousy as concern for your friend when it's obvious that you're in love with Kai and are meddling to break them up. I, 38 female, am married to my husband, 42. We've been together since our early 20s and have 3 small children, all under 10. He's a mechanic and works anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week, while I work as a hostess 3 days a week at a restaurant while the kids are at school. I do the majority of the housework and childcare, and I don't mind, as I understand he has a hard job and works a lot. He gets the kids on the bus every morning before he leaves for work, about 10 minutes afterward. All I ask of him to do is his laundry, as his clothes are covered in oil and grime, and they need to go in by themselves. And I ask him to pick up after himself, because the kids destroy the house enough. A couple of times a week, he'll help with dinner and clean up at the end of the day as well. Over the last 2 months, he's completely stopped helping. He dumps his clothes on the laundry room floor. His half of the bedroom is a mess. He leaves cans and wrappers all over the living room, and he's even stopped getting the kids up, which has upset them as they love the mornings with their dad. He's also been coming home hours later than usual. I've been letting it slide, as he seems very stressed out. But a few days ago, he snapped at me for being a crappy wife, for letting his clothes go unwashed. I reminded him that he's always done his own laundry, and he hadn't asked me to do it. I've been doing it, just hadn't gotten to it yet. He just grumbled and went to watch TV. Last night, I made chicken Alfredo. We have it about once a week because the kids love it, and no one's ever complained. Well, he complained and moaned through the whole dinner. Finally, he said since I'm not taking care of the house, I should at least put a good meal on the table, that I've just been letting the whole family go to crap, and I should be ashamed of myself for treating him and his children like that. He called me a bad wife and mother in front of our children. I told the children to go to their rooms and I snapped. I screamed at him about how much I do for the household, that if it wasn't for me, the place would be trashed, and he has no right to treat me like this over chicken Alfredo. We went back and forth for a while before he left, and I have no idea where he went, and he isn't even answering my calls or texts. I feel bad now, as I shouldn't have reacted like that, especially because I know he's just stressed from work, but it's all built up and come out at once. I just want to know if I was wrong for freaking out on him like that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, OP. I sincerely hope I'm mistaken, but your dear husband may be having an affair and setting you up to be the bad wife and mother to justify his behavior. That's what happened to me. This, or he was fired and can't make himself admit it. Also, could he possibly be depressed or burnt out? He works 60 to 80-hour weeks. I'd be surprised if he wasn't burnt out. In the past 2 months, have you attempted to determine why your partner changed so drastically? Just saying, it seems like this man is keeping all his pain inside, because my guess is if he doesn't work, bills aren't paid, so he's not allowed to complain, so it comes out as anger. To be honest, the solution may be that you work more, so he's not killing himself working 80 hours a week. Screw all these people telling you to be more understanding about your husband's burnout, like it's your fault he demeans, disrespects, and degrades you in front of your children. Kids under 10 are a full-time job, and you bring in extra income with part-time work outside the home. You've been more than generous in allowing him to slide on his very minimal chores for 2 months. To complain about a homemade meal? I don't know what your husband needs. Therapy, a different job, or a little taste of what it'll be like when his wife leaves him. But his open contempt he's displayed is unacceptable and a complete marriage ender. The man is breaking his marriage vows, tiny crack by tiny crack. Yeah, I'd just be like, whatever changes you need to make in your life to stop treating me like this need to happen in the next 2 months. I doubt he's cursing his boss out. OP, don't feel bad that he isn't responding. He's the one acting like a child. Keep a watch on your money and protect your kids. It sounds like your husband is checking out. I, 30 male, have a young tween son with my ex-girlfriend, 29. We split 6 years ago, but share custody, 1 week on, 1 week off arrangement. I have been in a relationship with my current girlfriend, 27, for 4 years. She's incredible and gets along with my son amazingly. Last year, my son suddenly became obsessed with skateboarding. He would talk nonstop about it and kept asking if he could get a skateboard. My ex and I discussed and mutually decided against letting him skateboard because he's still very young. And obviously, there's always a risk of injury. My son was very upset when we said no, but he eventually got over it. Yesterday afternoon, I left the house for an hour to run some errands, and while I was out, I got a call from my girlfriend telling me that she had to take my son to the emergency department and to meet her there. He had a dislocated shoulder. I was confused. I had no idea what was happening. I immediately drove to the hospital. I asked her, how did it happen? And she admitted that she bought him a skateboard 3 months ago, and he had a nasty fall while riding it at the skate park she had taken him to while I was out. I was angry, but I didn't want to start an argument in the middle of the hospital, so I gave her the silent treatment until we got back home. I rang up my ex immediately to tell her what happened and got an earful from her. My girlfriend apologized to my ex when she arrived at the hospital, but she wasn't having any of it. So basically, my girlfriend made my son promise her not to say anything about the skateboard to his mother or me, and they've been hiding the skateboard from me for months. I asked my girlfriend why the heck she thought that would be okay, and she said she just wanted to make my son happy, and she argued that she never let him skate alone. She was always with him. Apparently, she would take him to the skate park whenever I was out of the house, which wasn't often, but I don't want him at the skate park ever. I called her an idiot and said that it was her fault that my son got injured. She said that I was being an idiot and she didn't mean for it to happen. She was just trying to do something nice. So now we're barely talking to each other. Am I the idiot or what? Not the idiot. Whether a kid should be allowed to skateboard is a separate issue from a partner actively going against the parents and being deceptive. On top of that, she was teaching your son to lie to his parents. An adult teaching a child to hide their time together from other adults is a dangerous, slippery slope. The description here is so egregious to me that it's unforgivable. I talked to your son to see if there are any other secrets that she had him keep from you, and explained that if an adult wants them to keep a secret from their parents, 9 out of 10, they're not good adults. Yeah, the secrets part is such a giant whopping red flag. OP should seriously consider if this girlfriend is worth keeping. She's putting his son in danger and teaching him to be deceitful in ways that can potentially put him in much more danger. Everyone's the idiot here. Your no skateboards are dangerous, so no skateboards policy was poorly thought out. It would help if you encouraged your kids' passions and determined how to do the activity safely. If you had gotten him the skateboard, you would have been in control of the safety gear being worn while he was learning. You would have been in control of the difficulty level and the risk he was taking as he gained experience. He still might have gotten hurt doing it, but kids' sports, whether it be soccer, basketball, football, baseball, or skateboarding, all carry risk of injury, but in general are a net benefit to development. Okay, so I have a unique name. It's nothing insane and it sounds normal, but I've never met someone with the same name. Looking at that name analyzer, only 30 people were given my name last year. The point I'm trying to make is it's unique. People comment on it semi-regularly, but it's made up, not a cultural or historic name. My sister had a baby girl 2 years ago and named her the female version of my name. She didn't ask me if she could. I want to be clear, I didn't and wouldn't expect her to, and I certainly would have approved if she did, and I do approve. I'm totally fine with her having a similar name. I don't want to dox myself here, so for example, let's say my name is Thor and my niece is Thora. It's off by a letter. I often babysit and have a good relationship with my sis and brother-in-law, but when I'm with my niece and we tell people her name, obviously, everyone immediately comments on our names being similar. I started jokingly saying, "Oh yes, she was named after me." My brother-in-law heard me say that to a neighbor while at the park with her, and he blew up my phone after, saying she wasn't named after me. Why am I telling people that? And I'm delusional. I'm kind of baffled by this aggression. I haven't responded or said anything to my sister. I'm now wondering, did I overstep in saying that? I'm awkward, so I tend to stick to the same small talk script. No one ever said she was named after me, and I won't say it anymore, but was I out of line? Edit. I should also add that I'm the godfather, and that was decided before she was even born or her name picked out. So, I don't know. I kind of assumed she was named after me. Wouldn't most people? Not the idiot. Here's my bad advice that you definitely shouldn't follow. Get a goldfish and name it the brother-in-law's name with an additional letter. Talk about the goldfish a lot around the brother-in-law and see if brother-in-law thinks there's a connection between his name and the goldfish. Get unreasonably angry if the brother-in-law suggests there's a connection. A goldfish stays in the house. He should name a dog after the brother-in-law and take the dog everywhere. Your names are so similar that strangers comment on them, and you reply to the stranger jokingly. Even if you'd been serious, brother-in-law doesn't need to get so aggressive about it. He could have just said she wasn't named after you and that it was just a name that they liked the sound of. I think brother-in-law's reaction is disproportionate. You should talk to your sister, not about the incident with brother-in-law, but to know whether your name inspired your nieces. I mean, she is your sister and trusts you with her child, so I think you can discuss this. It's possible, and I'm making wild guesses here completely out of nowhere because why not? That maybe your sister did indeed name her daughter after you, or was influenced by your name, inspired or found it sounded great. Brother-in-law disapproved, and they had an argument, and she won. And now brother-in-law is mad and doesn't want to acknowledge that.